Welcome to Sideline Sports. We're joined by Dave DeRoche, who's eating his tacos on Taco Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
John Shearer, taco-less.
But I got my new Cane sweatshirt on, so I'm, very happy.
We're not really happy about that. We got the other Jake, JT, joining us tonight. Jake's on assignment, a long, far way away. So let's get started tonight with the most important question. Two of the most important things in the world. What kind of tacos do we have, and how did San Diego State make the Final Four?
Well, Tony Asada, I was on the grill earlier, so if I would know I was going to lead this off, I wanted to take a bite. But it's so damn good. What do you mean, how do we make the Final Four?
How did San Diego State make the Final Four? I'm in shock.
Defense. Now, hey, did you guys didn't put the picture up of me when I played at San Diego State, did you?
No, you can. I can send it to JT. You can put
you can. Yeah, so well, it's vintage stock. So I did let her 1 year at San Diego State after Michael Cage left, when we weren't near as good. But man, their defense has just been amazing. They've got some offense for the first time ever. There's not much offense coming out of anything at San Diego State. I'm rocking. Oh, let me stand up here a minute. San Diego State, and we're dogs to the number 9 seed. Not big, but keep giving us the minus side of stuff, and we'll just keep playing basketball. It's been fun to watch them play, though, for sure.
Oh, it's been an interesting tournament. Nothing has gone the way it was supposed to go.
Are you sure?
I can't imagine anybody still has a whatever they call those things.
The brackets.
Bracket?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. You think anyone picked this Final Four?
I know.
Apparently 37 brackets picked this Final Four.
Wow.
Apparently
You
37.
know what? They should all bet $10. They should all bet $10 on FanDuel or DraftKings. They'd be making a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them were probably those wonky brackets where people are just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. That's
millions of them,
yeah.
Playing thousands of different brackets, or they've got to be FAU students or something.
And then they're like, "Oh, look, I got it right."
Listen, my chalk bracket was going to pay $1,100 if it hit. Of course, it didn't. So imagine what this bracket would have paid. This Final Four. I'm guessing.
Is Raphael going to be on? Is Raphael going to be on today?
Yeah, he should be here around 9.
Whenever he has those numbers, he should, huh? Hey, so JT, are you going to put that? Are you going to put that? That.
I'm getting there. Yeah.
Okay,
it's a little bit different having my face on the screen. I think.
Yeah, usually I'm behind the scenes.
You got to do it all.
I've got to try to do it more sly.
I will tell you. So it was a little rough as a football player, making the basketball team. And this is before, I think maybe it's more typical to have dual letterman in collegiate sports. But so my sophomore year, I decided I wanted to play basketball, and I was decent, And I guess they didn't plan on me making the team because the first game I went to get dressed, and I couldn't get my game jersey over my shoulders. I was number 54, wow. Like the biggest jersey they had. And so they had to run back to the school and get my practice jersey. And so, I'm doing warm-ups. I wasn't starting. And we played against University of San Diego, and they had a 7-footer. We had an injury at center. So we had a freshman kid, 6'11" kid, and he was just eating him up. So Smokey Gaines, who was my head coach at the time, goes, DeRoche, get in there and keep him out of the key. I'm like, okay, I'm 280 pounds. I could do that, And so, I'm playing, and then I get the ball on the post, down on the box, and I'm like, shoot, turnaround jumper. And the guy blocks the shot. It wasn't the 7-footer, it was some other tall guy. He blocks the shot, and they call a foul. Well, he didn't foul me, but they call a foul. So I go up to the free throw line, and I've never played in front of 12,000 people. And I airball. There it is. Okay, so I airball the first one, and then I banked the second one in. And so that's kind of how the game went. So next day, front page of Sports News, my practice jersey, belly shirt, short shorts, High socks, 1985. That was it right there, man. That's the story behind the belly shirt.
Wow, that is awesome.
Good look.
So what did you average at basketball? How many points a game?
Okay, so all right, I had 4. I think I had I said back the second one. I think I had 3 points on that game, and then we went to Vegas for the Vegas tournament. All right, so we're playing Vegas, and we're 0-7. We're playing Vegas, and all I did was catch dunks. I had 4 points and 4 fouls in 4 minutes, and I was out.
Wow.
And my one was a turnaround jumper at the top of the key, and it's funny because the announcer goes, "Oh no, that's not the shot," and it showed Smokey going, "What?" And I here just all net, and like, oh, nice shot by the big guy. And then the next night we beat University of Florida for our first win. Smokey said no curfew. I won $360 on the roulette table, which is like $1 million. Met some friendly people and missed the plane coming home. So that's ended my career. I was still on the team. I still played, but I didn't play much. So, I think I had a total of 7 points in the whole season.
Nice. Well, it's 7 points more than the three of us. So you're killing it.
Yeah. And my football came out of me, just well, whatever. See you guys next day.
So how did it work with the football and basketball season? Because they do overlap just a drop. It's not as bad,
Well, what happened is that our coaches, our football coaches, got fired, and Smokey had been wanting me to come out and play because I made it to the final cut for Olympic development, and I had a couple scholarship offers for basketball out of high school. And Smokey had been, hey, come play, and then when they got fired, I'm like, well, shoot, Cage is gone, and Smokey goes, come out and try out for the team, so I did, and it was great. It was a grueling year because then we got done and there was no Christmas break and went then right into spring ball, but it was fun to do one time.
That sounds pretty cool. I think I'd enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
I looked it up. I had to see some proof, and I'll share my screen real quick. You got a whole stat page here, Dave. 0.7 points average, total rebounds, 0.1 boards a game. So I don't know how accurate this is going to be, but you've got a 33% field goal.
That's right. Huh?
What are you, 3 or 4 from the line?
That's 75% from the line.
That's right.
Better than most guys today.
Better than Shaq.
Nice pull, JT. See,
very nice.
Hey, you can't lie no more, guys. I believe me. I've been talking. I'm talking from a lot of people, especially kids. And as soon as I say something, they're Googling. They're Googling. Hey, Dave, I said, yeah, I told you. Yeah, I told you.
We call the guys like you unicorns, Dave.
So did you ever think about trying to make the NBA? I'll let you finish your bite real quick. I mean, John, could you imagine not only playing college football, but then when that season's pretty much done, getting ready to play college basketball?
That would be awesome.
Toll that would be on your body, but how much fun that would be.
You're an athlete. That's cool.
So, for a chubby white guy, I jumped pretty well. I was at that time, coming from outside the key, and could jump pretty well. My little brother, who's 6'9", who's still the all-time leading scorer for Azusa Pacific University, small little NAIA school here, but still the all-time leading scorer going back to the 80s. He ended up playing in Brazil for a couple of years, in Germany for one season. Well, he was playing in the pro-ams, out in Palm Springs and different things. And so I think before I went up to Seattle, at some juncture, maybe it was after Seattle, I was running with them. I was out there balling with them, and and it had some little bit of aspirations, just like trying out for the LA Kiss when I was 52. I'm always trying. You never know. And and I was out there running and having a great time. But that was it.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
So JB, you said that that the tournament didn't go how we had thought it would, but I would argue that because with all these NIL deals, I feel like the tournament went exactly how it should, because with all the NIL deals, now the all the talent is spread out throughout college basketball. So these San Diego States, these FAUs, all those type of teams shouldn't be as surprising, because that's what the NIL money does, is it spreads out the talent, and it's not all Duke anymore. It's not those teams. It's like these teams. It's just because teams like San Diego State aren't, prestigious teams like Duke and whatnot. That's why. It's because none of us are paying attention like we should. But if you really paid attention, like, there's a lot of really good teams out there. That's what the NIL deals do, is it actually spreads out the talent and makes it where it's more fair to teams that
I would
we don't pay
disagree with you with that. I would think certain schools that have bigger boosters, like especially football, aka Alabama, LSU, have the ability to
those teams those places are always going to have talent. Yeah. But what I'm saying is,
but they have
some
boosters,
of those,
John, because they've had this system in place for so long.
But some of the talented players that might go other places like Tennessee or Duke or whatever, some of those players end up on FAU, and then the lead player of FAU is now a 5-star player. And when you have a 5-star player, you know what I mean? Like, just as an example.
Here's the deal. I can't attest to FCU, whatever that place is. The team we're going to beat.
Just an example.
Yeah, the team we're going to beat next, whatever that team is. I can't attest to them, but here's what I can tell you guys. San Diego State doesn't have money going into those NILs. I know the guys that are helping the kids with them. We just don't, for whatever reason. There's money there. It just doesn't filter. It just doesn't filter. We got a beautiful stadium, built by Viejas, the casino, a huge family. But I don't know the answer to that. But we certainly aren't front loading kids with $1 million each like Texas A&M. We don't. There's not that pool of money. And so, to JB's point, I don't know that it makes it an equal playing field. I actually think it makes it worse, because those teams like USC, who have boosters that are willing to spend on a dime, they're waiting to spend money to bring talent in. We don't have people chomping at the bit to donate hundreds of thousands of dollars per kid.
That's why I'm waiting to see what happens with St. John's next year, because there's all the talk of Mike Rapoli, who is the vitamin water guy, and Wall Street kicking in money for NILs because they got Patino. Being a St. John's fan, this is our opportunity. We could spend a lot of money all of a sudden with these NIL deals. There's more money in Manhattan than probably anywhere else in the world. So, this is an opportunity for NIL deals to be made. But at the same time, does that mean that, you're the best team doing it that way? And then also with college basketball, the other major difference as opposed to football is the one and dones. Guys that come in to play 1 year or 2 years. That's why it's not the same college basketball as it was 20 years ago, where teams tended to dominate. Now you have a team like Kentucky that just overturns every year. That's why they're not doing what you expect of them. And you're seeing these, amazing 16 seed teams winning games. Happened a few years ago against Virginia. It happened this year with Fairleigh Dickinson winning their game. You got FAU in the Final Four as a 9 seed. You got San Diego State, whose defense, them in Connecticut probably play the best defense in the country. Yeah. And defense wins championships, and you got the 2 best defenses, I think, in the Final Four. So that's kind of exciting.
When you look at, to your point, JB, San Diego State has got like 5, I think, in a 6-year kid on there. I mean, they just stick around because they're not the superstars, and so they stick around. They get experience, and they, it's a good core team. And one other point though with this NIL, it's a lot easier to build a basketball team certainly than a football team. You can get, to John's point, 2 5-star kids and then build around them with just local talent, and really and make a splash. You can't do that with 2 cats on a football team, because you need 22 more, to balance things out. Because you put 2 superstars on a Marshall, and then their offensive line averages 235, they're gonna get killed. I don't care who they go against. So it's just and I just picked Marshall out of the blue. I don't even know why, but that's so it can be done in basketball for sure. You could buy a championship if there's money.
So as far as San Diego State, there is, so what I'm reading is, according to the Senate Bill 206, there's a law which governs NIL agreements in California. Universities are prohibited from providing a prospective intercollegiate student athlete with compensation, and basically prevents the NIL, but San Diego State has an Aztec Advantage program, which is like an NIL deal. So basically, the athletes are able to sell their own merchandise and things of that nature and make the money. So it's a way around the NIL thing because I guess California fights that. I guess they have a law against that. But since the Aztecs have an Aztec Advantage program, it's a way around it, and the athletes are able to be compensated if they sell their own merchandise and things like that. They have to do it on their own, but they're able to make that money and not lose.
John, I don't know much about that, but there's NIL there. J.R. Tolver, NFL guy, still one of the greatest receivers at San Diego State, has actually headed a nationwide NIL education platform that he's been working on for 2 years. That's launching out, provided by a nationwide financial planning firm talking about financial literacy. They provide it for somebody else, and I don't recall who it is, but I think it's Intuit, but it's not Intuit providing it. It's the firm. So he wouldn't go through all that if there wasn't NIL money for the kids at San Diego State.
Oh yeah, that's what the program is for, is so that way they can. Yeah, so but it's interesting to learn about all this NIL stuff because I mean we think it's just the kids just automatically get money, but there's layers to it.
It's gonna ruin sports. Give it 5 years. All these 18-year-old kids are gonna start getting $500,000, and they're gonna go in the tank, and they're gonna think, oh, I'm the best. They separate themselves. They put themselves on a pedestal. They get, and I just, it's going to play out poorly. It just is.
I think it's going to balance out, honestly, more than play out poorly. I think like right now it's like the big wave of everybody's getting like the massive deals.
Right.
Kind of like how like the Live Tour was. It started out by people just getting massive chunks of money. I think that's kind of on a smaller scale what some of these college athletes are seeing. So I think within the next maybe 5 years or so, they'll kind of teeter into like the middle of wanting to play for a good program like a blue blood, Kentucky, Duke, UNC, those kind of teams, while also trying to maybe get a little bit of a bag and at least just get their, education paid for and stuff like that. So I think it'll kind of teeter in and you'll keep the blue blood culture for sure.
Oh yeah.
So we got some breaking news. NBA Hall of Fame, WNBA, and the Naismith Hall of Fame. Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Pau Gasol, Tony Parker, Greg Popovich, and Becky Hammond have all been elected to the Naismith Hall of Fame.
Well deserved.
Yeah, all great names. I can't argue with anybody on that list. Anyone disagree with any of those names?
Go ahead, say them one more time.
Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Pau Gasol, Tony Parker, Popovich, Becky Hammond.
Paul Gasol.
Hesitation there with Gasol there, John.
Yeah, I'll argue that he's. Let me get up on my little soapbox. Let me get on my soapbox about this. There should be an NBA Hall of Fame, not a basketball Hall of Fame. It's the dumbest thing in the world that it's a Naismith Hall of Fame because guess what they include? They include what you did in the Olympics, part of your basketball Hall of Fame resume, which is just stupid. It should be an NBA Hall of Fame. If they want to have their Naismith Hall of Fame, that should be separate. There should be an NBA Hall of Fame, WNBA Hall of Fame. Like that should be separate from this Naismith Hall of Fame because it allows people like Paul Gasol to get into the Hall of Fame, which if you've ever watched that guy play in the NBA, he's nowhere close to a Hall of Famer. He was a solid player, but he's nowhere close to a Hall of Famer. Nowhere close.
John, they just retired his number, and I saw that. I'm like, really?
Yeah, probably. I'm assuming like in Europe because he was a big player for the.
No, they retired his number
Olympic
for the
team.
Lakers. For the Lakers, they retired his number.
I don't know why. He's nowhere close to the the Kobe's and Shaqs.
A Naismith Hall of Famer, wouldn't his time in Europe count?
Well, that's what John's saying. Yeah, that's what John's saying.
Was he the greatest here? No, but he was a great role player with the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
A role player shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
But you got to judge his whole body of work.
What body of work? He did nothing in the NBA. He was a solid player.
It's not the NBA Hall of Fame.
You're mediocre.
It's not the NBA Hall of Fame.
Well, that's why I think it's stupid.
Just needs to start up his own NBA Hall of Fame and see if it can get as much credibility as the.
You should do it, John.
It's like giving credibility to the WWE Hall of Fame.
John,
credibility
call Adam
whatsoever.
Silver tomorrow.
It's stupid.
call Adam Silver tomorrow and start the proposal.
I would love to have
Yeah.
a conversation with Adam Silver. I would tell him exactly what I'm telling you right now. I always thought it was the dumbest thing because think about what Deion Sanders said a couple months ago. Whenever guys that were solid players but never elite players that got into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and Deion Sanders said, "You're really going to put that guy in with a guy like me, who's one of the greatest of all time? You're going to put his head in with my head amongst all these heads, the LaDainian Tomlinsons, Adrian Petersons."
I'm sorry, this is the greatest comment of all time. It sounds like somebody knows you, John.
Look, I'm an unbiased professional when it comes to all this. I love my teams, but when you ask me to give this, like I said, Deion Sanders belongs in the Hall of Fame. If you ask me if Richard Seymour belongs in the Hall of Fame, hell no. Nowhere close to the Hall of Fame. But yet, somehow guys like that they sneak into the Hall of Fame. It just, like, what are we doing here? We're watering down these Hall of Fames by just letting any old person in. I just always thought it was stupid whenever we do that. I just don't like it.
Yeah. Well, then, so I would, argue that point to the guys that aren't in it. Like a guy like that I've gotten to know very well. I do his camps, Minute in Trenches camps here. Jesse Sapolo played 15 years. He was a two-time All-Pro, once at center, once at guard. He was two different positions, All-Pro. 4 Super Bowl rings. One of 6 Niners to have 4 Super Bowl rings, and it was a center for Montana and Young. I mean, that's and in his 15th season, guys. A lot of people don't know this. He played after having open heart surgery.
Oh my God!
In the offseason, he had open heart surgery. He got an award, and I don't know the name of the award for a comeback player. But he tells a story about he's on the field for Monday Night Football, and Madden comes up to him and goes, "How you feeling, man?" He thought he was nuts for playing after having open heart surgery. I mean, a cat like that, and not only that, he's an actor too, belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly. There you go. See that? That's a resume.
Yeah.
Not Paul Gasol. Like, that's not a resume. That's like, congratulations, you rode the coattails of Kobe Bryant for a championship. Like, congratulations. Like,
who's next? Vlade Divac?
Exactly. See, this guy gets it. One of you want to,
Wait. When I came on the show, they said, just, be ready for John. And what he said. And here I am agreeing with them.
Yeah, now they're band together.
Listen, we all have that one week.
Yeah.
We all have that 1 week where we agree with John. And then
you never go back. I mean, once you cross that line, you can't go back.
Really scared Wednesday.
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
All right. So one more basketball topic real quick before we get Raphael on. I know he's back there waiting. So in Orlando, Bradley Beal's under police investigation after a post-game incident with a fan. So the fan yelled that he lost $1,300. You made me lose $1,300, you F. And Beal supposedly walked towards the guy's friend, waved his hand. Beal waved his hand and basically contacted the left side of the guy's head. So now he's being investigated because for battery, according to the reports. So I have 2 issues with this. A, if you're gambling, Bradley Beal didn't cost you $1,300. You did because you chose to place the bet. So get over it. I lose bets. It's because of me. Bradley Beal didn't come to press the button on my computer or my phone or talk to the bookie and tell me, JB wants this team. So get over it and leave Bradley Beal alone.
He didn't go into the game and say, "Man, I can't wait to screw JB Ellis over." Like,
and then on top of that, Bradley Beal's got to be smarter than to go after some idiot that says you cost me $1,300.
Well, he also spit on him. You said, right?
I didn't see that in the ESPN report,
I thought
I had heard that.
So, I haven't heard that detail either yet. I figured I probably would have.
So I mean, either way, the NBA has security all around the court.
Yep.
All that can happen if you're the player, if you go after the fan, it's only going to be bad for you. I get that you're frustrated. I get that it's completely disrespectful. I mean, Dave, you were a player, right? I mean, you're a big guy. I don't think many people would want to mess with you, but I'm sure NFL games people are drinking. I'm drinking and I say something to you, Dave, you blah, blah, blah. You cost me $1,000. And even if I spit on you, which is the worst thing in the world to do, would you come after me, or are you going to let security handle it? Because if you come after me, what happens? And I get the frustration and the anger.
Right,
you know,
right.
I get that. I'm not saying it. You know, as a person, it's a crazy thought, but you know, this is your career and your livelihood.
Well, first of all, yeah, don't underestimate the power of alcohol. Doesn't matter how big you are. I had some incidences where, you know, I was defending myself, and hard to say that, you know, at 6'7", 300 and some pounds, that I was defending myself, but that's how drunk the person was, you know. So, you know, that does happen, but he wasn't defending himself. You know, in that instance, I don't get it. Especially now in this day and age, we know everyone's got a camera in their hand and their eyes are all on you, especially a basketball court, everything's in such close proximity. You know, football field, we're so far removed. You know, we didn't have any contact, you know, really at all. So, but it's tough. It's tough in the heat of the battle. It's tough, especially if they just lost and you got some guy that's, you know, yelling at you and spits on you. I don't know. That's a tough one.
I mean, I get the frustration. I really do. I mean, you got to be angry, but you know, you're at work. This is how you make millions of dollars. You provide for your family. You have to trust that the NBA has security there. They're going to take care of it.
And frankly, if you had a bad game, if you had a bad game, man, you're
frustrated. Yeah, I mean, you're probably frustrated. It's, you know, and now you're going to hear this idiot saying whatever. You know, I hate to see it.
So reading, all he did was knock the hat off of the dude. He didn't punch the guy.
He connected with his face with his hand.
That's apparently what the guy said. But
right.
From what I'm reading, all he allegedly did was knock the hat off of the guy, and then he was ushered back into like the tunnel and whatnot and ushered away. All he did was knock, you know, like if I walked up and knocked Dave's hat off, like that's all. Apparently, all he did. Seems like
the guy they'll send him a check for $10,000. He'll shut up. It'll go away.
It's just like Dave said, you know.
It's just a shame that it has to come to that. The fans got to know better.
It's somebody holding a camera. They're like, "Oh, guess what? I lost money off his bet. I'm
going
to try and get him to
be banned from every sporting event the rest of his life.
Yeah,
him and his family.
But hey, I'm holding up a camera, and my job is to get you to hit me, so that way I can make a
right.
You know,
get his money back. But to JB's point, the fans got to be known. The ticket seat numbers, needs to be notified, and he can't come back, because if he's going to spur that kind of he's going to entice the player to do something like that. You don't need fans like that.
Yeah, and I mean it's a bummer that it has to come out now that Bradley Beal is being, you know, investigated for a battery charge, because it just sounds so egregious. But at the same time, you want to say like that fan should be getting the harassment charge and whatnot. Like if it's going to come to Beal, it needs to come both ways at the very least.
Yep. Well, it's because Beal's the name. You got to make, if you're a prosecutor, who do you want to prosecute? Bradley Beal, which is a name, now you're on ESPN, or, you know, Joe Schmo, who nobody knows. Who cares, you know?
To me, the Devontae Adams situation from last year was more of a thing than this. To me, this is nothing. But the Devontae Adams thing was more to me than this is. This is just somebody trying to get paid. Yep. I thought last year Devontae Adams actually hit the camera guy. That's just me.
Yeah, we saw the video of that. That's not true. But without further ado, let's bring in Rafael Esperanza. Rafael, thanks so much for standing by and waiting. I wanted to get through all the basketball stuff. How you doing tonight?
All right. I just love listening to John comparing NBA Basketball Hall of Fame compared to an NFL Hall of Fame when there's 40 guys on the sidelines compared to 10 and 12 people on a team. You can't compare.
There should be an NBA Hall of Fame.
Paul Gasol should be in the Hall of Fame. He averaged almost 20 points when he was in Memphis. People always forget that he was in Memphis. He was competing with Tim Duncan and still making all-star teams with Tim Duncan, who's the best power forward to ever play the game. So I believe that Paul Gasol is a Hall of Famer, and that's not even talking about his resume overseas.
Love it. And Rafael, it's 51 players. So
I was just double guessing, but thanks for the correction.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, so what were the odds of this Final Four compilation making it?
For the Final Four, I was going to save it. I was going to text it, but I wanted to save it because I was doing some math and all that. It would have been about 150,000 to 1 to have this exact.
So my $10 would have got me back what?
Let's see. Well, 150,000 to 1 times 10. So I don't feel like doing
1.5 million. 1.5 million.
Good job,
To
JB.
the 37 people who had this Final Four, you are now all dead to me. That you could not have let Sideline Sports know the Final Four.
Yeah.
They
I would've
probably
split
didn't
the
bet
money
any
with
money
you.
on it.
Or
They
laid
probably-
would've
$10
split it with
bucks
you.
on it. Where's
That's
the comment?
37 people off the list.
Where's
There was
the
a
comment?
couple people that had FAU to win their region in multiple books that I talked to. So people did predict that one. And let's face it, they still had the best record in college basketball. I think that's why people probably bet that. They only had 3 losses. I know they weren't playing in the SEC, Big 12, or any of those other conferences, but I'm sorry. They still had a tough non-conference schedule in November, December.
And they're favored, right?
No, San Diego State's favorite. Let's face it. The networks want West Coast versus East Coast. They want San Diego State versus Connecticut with these Final Four. San Diego State opened up at 2. It's now 2 still. Get a really, really good two-way action on both sides. We're begging for the over to hit this game. The total opened up at 133. The total's now 131. So we're begging for a high-scoring game. The other one, Connecticut and Miami. Connecticut -5.5, totals 149.5. So that game should probably have a lot of points scored. I would love to see San Diego State versus UConn. I think that'd be the best matchup because let's face it, FAU wins their games because of 3-ball. They defend well. They always get offensive rebounds, but they shoot the 3-ball. They get offensive rebounds. They kick it out to the open shooter and they nail the 3. What does San Diego State done all season long and all tournament? Defend a 3. So it's going to be a fantastic, fantastic matchup.
Yeah, I bet it goes the under. Yeah,
it's going to be exciting to see. I mean, as much as I dislike the Final Four, I'm kind of excited to see it. It's got some different teams in there. You know, you got the Big East in there. You got FAU, which is who would have thought. San Diego State, you know, they're always a decent team. I'm glad to see them break through. You know, it's a pretty exciting Final Four in a weird sort of way.
Yeah, it's, you know, I've been telling, and I think I said it to you guys on last week's show and stuff like that. This is what college football is going to be like now. And the more teams they add to their playoff system, let's face it, I'm sorry, if you're going to have 12, we're going to have 12 teams in probably the next 5 to 10 years in college football. So you're trying to tell me, let's say if Alabama plays their first game and their quarterback gets hurt, their first game, they play a second game, a Boise State can beat them, a San Diego State team can beat them, a Miami team, or someone that we haven't seen it. We can have a national championship where it says TCU versus San Diego State, a national championship. In the national championship, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, there's no elite SEC teams in championships." Just I have to hear, "Oh, there's no blue bloods in the national championship." Boo hoo! We all wanted NIL to pay the students. We all wanted a transfer portal. Now it's here. Live with it. This is what it is now. College sports.
So, baseball starting this week Thursday. So, how do we bet baseball? If you're out there trying to bet baseball to make money, what's the best way to do it?
Don't bet Ohtani when he's pitching because he's going to be -$4 every time he's on the mound. Just enjoy him pitching and don't bet him because I was doing the math today. Someone asked me what Ohtani's highest odds were. And I think the first 5 projected starts, I think he plays the A's. And I think he'll probably pitch against the Tigers. He will be -$4 or higher versus the Oakland or the Vegas A's pretty soon, and the Detroit Tigers. So I would say avoid that. And I wouldn't study baseball right now because there's cold. We'll talk about this. I'm going to try to jump on your Cubs show tomorrow. It's supposed to snow in Wrigley on Wednesday, and now you're playing a home game Thursday. You should just sit back and watch baseball for the first couple of weeks because a lot of stadiums are going to be cold. The Cardinals, when they play their first home game, it's going to be cold there. It's even cold in the West Coast. The Dodger games, I think their first home games only is projected to be maybe in the 50s or 60s and the wind blowing in. So I would say for the first couple of weeks, just sit back, enjoy it, know your team, know the pitchers. And when the weather heats up, that's maybe when you want to pull the trigger because there's going to be some cold games.
What are the odds of the Angels making the World Series?
Last time I checked, I think they were like 200. I would say if you're going to bet anything with the Angels, I would say make them make the playoffs. Not because, let's face it, they're not going to win the World Series because it's just going to be so hard for them. I have a feeling if they struggle, I think they're going to dangle Ohtani in a trade deadline if they're struggling and stuff like that because I think that would probably be his biggest stuff to get back on it. I would say probably bet them that, yes, I think it's plus 350 for them to make the playoffs. I would say that's probably something better because you can hedge off your ticket quicker. I think last time I checked, they're about 200 to 1 to win the World Series because I have a feeling they're going to probably dangle Ohtani if they start off slumping. Come on, Cubs, pay that Ohtani money.
Well, Seiya's been
I've
trying
got,
to
you've got the Angels at 35 to 1 on ESPN right now.
To win the World Series?
No.
Yeah, to win the AL, it's 22 to 1.
Let me see. Hold on. We have
really low.
I have two sites. One has 50 to 1 and one has 75 to 1. Oh, there's another one that has 85 to 1. So I would always say when you're looking to bet futures, shop around. That's why I tell people you need more outs. Which means outs means you need more sports books. Because why would you want to take the Angels at 35 to 1, 45 to 1 when you can click on somebody else, DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, and other, and get 75, 100, or whatever. So
but you really should take Doc Sports. I mean,
yeah, you would always want to try to get more outs and try to get the best number as possible.
I mean, I think you should take the Orioles to win the World Series, but that's just me. I would think make playoffs in the World Series and win it all. Just saying.
Everybody keeps on asking me, are the Orioles are they gonna get out of Baltimore? And there's no way Major League Baseball will have two teams leave different cities in the next 5 years. The A's, they're gone. They're leaving Oakland. There's no way they're gonna add two teams.
We're staying right here. We're not
really,
going.
I haven't heard anything about Baltimore leaving.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, they were fighting a couple years ago, and I think the mayor both came out and said they're not leaving.
I forgot they even had a team till John mentioned them.
Oh, you'll hear a lot. You'll hear a lot about it.
They still have a team.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I saw Milwaukee.
They're going to win the.
A couple of weeks ago, created a committee to keep the Brewers in Milwaukee, and I had no idea that the Brewers were even thinking about leaving.
If the Brewers move, they'll probably go to Montreal. They'll probably, because I know they want the Expos to come back. And your Baltimore Orioles, their total season wins is 76.5 to over minus 140. I like them. I think I have them projected anywhere between 84 to 85 wins.
Yeah, I don't
this year.
That is, I would definitely take the over on that 70.
Because I think the Yankees took a small step backwards. I have the Blue Jays winning that division. Let's face it, Aaron Judge, now he's got the C in his jersey. He's probably going to pull it oblique. He's not going to play
62 again. So if you take 17 home runs off the board, that's some wins off of the board from last year.
And Carlos Rodon is on the IR already, so he's not going to be ready.
Got a bunch of guys injured.
Yankees haven't done enough to improve to win a World Series, so I already know what I'm going to be doing in October. Watching the first round and saying, "Ooh, we get to the American League Championship Series. Ooh, watch whoever gets to the World Series." Same
Cubs make the playoffs this year. That's what I'll tell you that right now.
Really?
Yeah, I think they
buying Ohtani at the deadline.
I think the Cardinals will win a division, even though it hurts me to say that. My grandpa just rolled around in his grave right now for me saying that. I hate the Cardinals. They're my arch enemy for being a Cub fan. They win a division. I think the Brewers take a step backwards, and I think the Cubs come in second place. So I think the Cubs grab the last wild card spot.
Interesting. What about the Mets in the National League?
Let's see. As long as their two senior citizen pitchers can stay healthy, then I think they can be out there. They already lost their closer because he can't dance after winning a game. So with Diaz out, that's going to hurt them a big time because he saved a lot of games, especially a lot of close games. With Diaz,
he has the Martin Gramatica syndrome.
Yeah, so no. Even though I'm going to miss the horns playing come out when he comes out to close the game, but no horns for the Mets fans.
Did anybody else think that was cheesy? Like I felt like that was like.
I thought it was unique.
I didn't care for it. I thought after a while, I was like, okay, this is kind of cheesy. Like, this isn't Game 7 of the World Series. It's just a regular season game, but hey, go on and play your goofy trumpets. Like
Charlie Sheen did it in Major League every time he closed the game. Why can't he do it?
Well, he's not Charlie Sheen.
I gotta point out every time I see Major League, it's a favorite movie. It's my namesake.
Yeah, I mean, so
he did it every time. That's your favorite baseball movie?
Yeah. Do you know my name?
Oh my gosh. That's not the best baseball movie. You're not saying it's the best, right?
It has to be because my name is Jake Taylor.
Come on. Field of Dreams is clearly the best. Like, what are we doing here?
I watched Major League probably over 2,500 times throughout my life. I watched it from age 6 to 12.
You're
or
right.
like
You're out of
15.
order. Congratulations.
Oh, get out of town! You're literally telling me that my name is out of order. Are you
It's
serious?
the name.
John?
Yes,
It's
you're
the
out of
name.
order. You're
Let
very
him
first.
have it. You know,
Get out of town.
he's not saying it's a good movie. He's saying it's because of his name. Just give it.
It's
Can't really argue that fact, John.
it's the
I mean,
perfect movie, Dave.
You know, if there was a
JB
new
would agree.
baseball-
Rookie of the Year is the best baseball movie.
Oh, stop.
The Cubs win the world. The
Angels
Cubs
in the
make the play.
outfield. Angels in the outfield's the best.
Ooh,
That's a good movie.
that's a good. I always forget about Angels in the outfield. You're right.
The question is,
No.
who remembers Tiger Town?
Mm.
Nobody. See,
No, yeah.
great Disney movie, early '80s. Check it out before the season starts.
I'm
Got
gonna
plenty of time.
put that on the list.
All right. Hey,
Sorry, JB. You're out of order.
wait.
man.
We're talking about movies that aren't going to make any of us any money. Hey, Raphael, how are we going to make money on what else is good?
We're gonna make money with your team, your gear right now.
Okay.
I like them this weekend. I think the way they played. I'm hoping they're losing at halftime because let's face it, San Diego State since
Second
the
half
Mountain
team.
West Conference tournament,
Yep.
they've made the best second half adjustments in any college basketball game
Yeah,
I've
they're
seen.
a
So
second
far.
half team.
Yeah,
And then what's the odds then of them winning the whole thing and upsetting UConn?
they're plus 150, 160. Shop around right there. Yeah, let's face it, UConn has probably been playing the best basketball in the tournament.
Yeah.
They were totally misseeded. Everyone was complaining, "Oh, Duke misseeded." No, I thought UConn was worse misseeded on there. So I would say probably look for that to be probably the best spot. I would say take the -2 or even lay the money line at -130 because I think it is going to be a close game like we saw last game. Getting -130 or lower on the money line, I think that's a good bet to beat. Because let's face it, if you play in Connecticut, you can maybe take just the San Diego State money line. If that's the championship game, you'll get a better number right now on that money line than you will if you take the San Diego State to win it all right now.
Now, do they have future bets for the championship game with lines already, or no?
I'm going to do all the matchups. Probably, I have to finish my WrestleMania prop odds tonight, so I'm going to probably do all the scenarios for the national championship game probably sometime the next either tonight or tomorrow morning.
So, how do you do props for WrestleMania when it's staged?
If you say it's script, I'm going to hang up right now. You'll research Paul Gasol's odds on why he's not a Hall of Famer, but I hate when this is why WWE wanted betting now on there. Stuff like that. Before, back in the day, the wrestlers knew the outcome probably that morning so they can practice either in the afternoon. Now, all pay-per-views, wrestlers don't know until they're actually walking out into the ring or the ref tells them in the ring, hey, practice what you guys did. I'll let you guys know when we're closing up, and I'll let you guys know when Brock Lesnar lost to when he beat the Undertaker.
That wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, it was a great YouTube special out there where Undertaker and Vince McMahon were pretty much almost going toe-to-toe in the back because Vince McMahon did not want Undertaker to lose. Undertaker, I want Brock Lesnar to win. They were going back and forth. They did not know until the ref told Brock Lesnar. You can watch in slow motion where the ref says, hey, Lesnar, you're winning this
Wasn't
at 5.
He got the concussion or whatever, too. Undertaker got a concussion.
Yeah, he got a concussion during that fight. He goes, you're going to win this match. And you can see Undertaker's like, or Brock Lesnar's like, oh my God, I'm really going to beat him. Like he was like he didn't know Stonefish. So now that's the biggest thing. Triple H, I've talked to him many times. Their biggest thing is they hate social media finding out outcomes of their pay-per-view events. So now you'll see earpieces. The ref's talking to him the whole time. The ref either knows or they're coming out knowing and stuff like that. That's why.
Sometimes they'll change up the ending of the match like right before the end of the match.
I was just gonna ask if they ever do like improv type stuff.
All the time, all the time.
Yep,
all the time. I've talked to many wrestlers, but when I went to Royal Rumble, I was at the media row and stuff like talking to them because they were all, well, you do wrestling odds because I was the first guy to actually do wrestling odds in 2004 for WWE pay-per-view events. And so I was talking, and they were the ones who were telling me, yeah, they're like, oh, Vince McMahon back. I remember in 2005, one of the SummerSlams, it got leaked out that The Rock was going to win, and he was going to win this way, and it actually happened, and the fans were booing at the end of the match because they all knew the outcome and stuff like that. So right now, it's all pretty much hush hush until, like I said, until they walk in.
It still means it's scripted. It just means like it's like a movie where you don't know what's going to happen until you actually watch it. Which
So
is
okay,
fair.
three people. So three people. If three people know it's not scripted.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well, with
it
that
kind of
said-
is because what's going to happen is going to happen. I don't mean that it's public knowledge, but it's still known in advance what's going to happen.
But even getting back to like the root of your question, JB, when you said like prop bets for wrestling, it doesn't necessarily have to be about the outcome. You could talk
Right.
about
Yeah,
how many times, like on the TV,
exactly.
it fans to the fans or something like that.
Yeah, I
Or
have how
like-
many times will Brock Lesnar suplex Omos? How many times Roman Reigns would do a Superman punch? Lance?
How many
I'll have
torn
to-
quads will Vince McMahon get trying to jump into the ring? That kind
Or
of
like-
thing.
Well, I have. Will Vince McMahon show up on air during WrestleMania? Because he has not shown up since he so-called got fired or quit and came back.
And
Uh,
what
it's like
wrestlers
nostalgia.
wear, that's part of. I'm assuming that's part of like the props and stuff like that, like what color their outfit might be or what.
When John
you know what I
Cena
mean?
was wrestling, we would always do that because he would always wear different color hats. What color hat
Yeah.
John Cena would wear and stuff like that. But I haven't really got. I mean, how many titles will be exchanged on Saturday and Sunday? Over unders 3.5, stuff like that. So I'll have anywhere between probably 25 to 30 different ways to bet WrestleMania besides the matches itself.
I'll
Yeah,
tell
it's gotta be
you,
fun.
it's amazing to me that we're having this conversation.
Yeah, it gives you the chance to really be creative.
Well, in 1992, I met. I was out at Sagebrush Cantina in Calabasas. I met Hulk Hogan and his manager, and I had just gotten done playing football. My hair was down to here, 6'7", 360 pounds,
Twins.
and I'd always wanted to meet him. I mean, he's Hulk Hogan. And I was amazed that I was slightly taller, a little bit bigger. He was ripped, though. I mean, he's Hulk Hogan. He was ripped. I was just stupid big. And they were going, man, you should go into wrestling. And that's when he had turned his beard black, and
That was when he's NWO.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm done with traveling and wrestling's done. I'm not going to do that. So I missed that one.
I partied with him and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall when I worked at MGM when they used to have Halloween Havoc there.
Oh,
And I never seen a man drink so much and do so much other stuff than Ric Flair. If you watch any of his documentaries, how he is right now is probably the reason why what I saw him drink, inhale, whatever else he was putting in his body that day.
Yep.
He was a madman that night.
How him and Ozzy Osbourne have made it this far in their lives with all that they've done in their lives is crazy. Like those two just come to mind.
Tack on
physicality, because I mean, listen, whether the outcome is decided before it started, the physicality of what they go through is real.
Yes,
There is
very
no,
much.
when you're jumping off a rope and you're pounded into the mat, that takes a toll on your body when you're doing that how many times a year. So I mean, they are athletes. I'm not going to take that away from them. They are strong, very strong.
They do it 3-4 times a week.
Yeah,
They don't have like 1 day a week and stuff like
Nope.
that. You figure
There's no
3-4 days a week, and that's not even count weight training and probably practices in the back of whatever. Yep. So it's crazy what they have to do.
And to work so well together to make sure that they don't hurt each other with what they do. I mean, I have a tremendous respect for them. It's a shame that it's something that's predetermined, that it could be something that just whoever happened to win, but I get the reason why.
Well, yeah, you got to put a time limit on it.
Yeah. They'd be there for a long time, as strong as they are. But very cool. Anything else going on, Raphael?
No, I was excited for baseball. It's sad for my life that a sport ends and then another begins. So I got college basketball ending, and then I have baseball starting. So it's a never-ending job in my life of just rotating sports. And then you have Women's World Cup soccer that starts in a couple of months, which the handle that comes in a Women's World Cup soccer, especially in the U.S. side, is almost triple to what men's get. And when the men played in their World Cup soccer games, so it's I can't believe how much people bet women's soccer. So it's crazy. So I get prepared for that. And the Kentucky Derby is just around the corner.
And playoffs for hockey and basketball.
And basketball
right around the corner.
And XFL Week 7.
Yeah.
The Vegas Vipers are going to get. They're going to get Jackson. They're going to trade Baltimore for Jackson.
How is the XFL doing? How's the handle?
Each week it's better. I mean, this Monday's game we had ridiculous handle for Monday for a Monday XFL because that was always on pretty much TV. You had, of course, NBA and NHL, but you put in any kind of NFL, XFL, CFL, AFL, USFL game on a Monday on ESPN, ESPN2, or any of the Fox Sports channels. For bettors, they're going to bet it. It is what it is. So we had ridiculous handle on it. We actually had to bump the limits because people were complaining that they wanted more handle on it. I'm like this, so I'm like okay.
I mean, it's super easy to find. Like, if there's a game on, it'll be on Hulu or Peacock, or it's always on one of those like not.
The USFL starts this month. I think it's April 11th or April 14th. So
it doesn't XFL have the line like right on the next to the team, like -4.5.
And they talk about the totals the whole time. Oh, they're like, if you had the first half total, you just cashed it. Yeah, they embraced it.
That's awesome.
You might as well. The more people invest their money, the more likely they are to watch your product. So,
Yeah, and it all wraps into the super engaging experience that the XFL has. Like, the more explosive plays, that kind of thing, what they're shooting for. I think it really works out pretty well, meshing it in with the betting community for sure.
They should add in fantasy football for the XFL. That would really, really boost the pop.
We already tried that with an entire league.
Yeah. Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think some sites do have fantasy for XFL already. That I think started week 4, if I'm not mistaken. But if it comes to another year back, I think that you will see a lot more fantasy sports when it comes to XFL.
So a couple of weeks ago, you had said about the Jets getting Rodgers. And, the next day, of course, it came out of Pat McAfee that he wants to play for the Jets. So now we hear that Lamar Jackson asked for a trade. Rodgers still isn't on the Jets. Where's Lamar going to go?
I mean, I think last time I checked, the money was coming in on the Colts, Patriots. I can't think of the other team, Lions, and stuff like that. I think he goes to Baltimore. I think Lamar, even though he doesn't have an agent, he's playing poker right now. I mean, you don't think it was exact timing when Harbaugh was getting ready to speak that he tweeted that? He's just showing he knows he saw the flop. No one wants me, son of a bitch. Now I have to bluff to say, hey, I'm all in again, or they're just playing around. I don't think anyone's gonna trade for him because there's no one want to give up 2, 3, or 4 first rounders, wherever they're talking about. And I don't think he's going to get that guaranteed $200 million, especially now when I'm hearing that what's his name, the Chargers quarterback,
Herbert.
He's getting close to signing a brand new contract. So if he signs before the NFL draft his new contract, and it's a lot lower than what Deshaun was and all that, if you're Jackson, you just need to call Baltimore and say, hey, what's that offer again? I'll sign it now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Chargers, it's actually smart.
Yes.
Because what I've heard is Lamar's going to get traded. If he gets traded, it's going to be at the draft. So if Lamar gets traded at the draft and gets his brand new deal, that probably resets the quarterback market. So if that resets the quarterback market, that means Justin Herbert's going to have to reset the quarterback market because it's going to be like, well, I mean, he's going to probably say to the Chargers, well, I'm better than that guy. I'm on the field more often. I throw for almost 5,000 yards every year. He's going to have a case. So he's going to want to reset. Every quarterback's going to want to reset the market. So if you're a team, if you're Joe Burrow.
Thanks to Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly. If you're Joe Burrow, if you're Jalen Hurts, if you're any of the people running those teams with these young quarterbacks that are about to get new deals, you want to get your deal in now. So that way you reset the market and you're not resetting the market after another team does it because you're going to pay more than you would have. So it's a game of cat and mouse with all these new deals coming.
And it also becomes a lot harder to win after a rookie deal because now you're investing a lot more money into your quarterback, and that's less money to spend on all 21
I still believe it. He hurt himself for not having an agent. Dave, you would probably you understand more of this and all that. When you have an agent, you can start talking and reaching out, shaking hands, kissing babies, start feeling some feelers out back way before this contract would have been even closer. And he never did. And an agent. If he had a better agent, not only would he be looking for a football contract, he could probably be getting more endorsement deals in Baltimore. So maybe that would help, maybe not get that $200 million guaranteed. He would get something else that Baltimore can give him outside of football. I think not having an agent probably hurt him the most.
Yeah, they know how to call and what to say to teams, and how to approach them. And if you don't know those intricacies, when I got released my second season, I didn't have an agent. I had fired him. because he got involved with giving Craig Airhead Hayward some money and wasn't held in high regard. So I fired him. I thought I was going to be in Seattle forever because that's what they told me. But then I got released without an agent, and so there I sat. And I tried to hire somebody who didn't know the ropes. He was calling teams, and the coach I knew, Doug Scoville, had passed away, and he's calling the Eagles, and they said, Coach Scoville passed away last month. And so that, that's not a good conversation, not a great way to start a conversation trying to make a team, So you have to have somebody that knows what they're doing, especially when you're talking $200 million.
Yeah.
I'm a small guy, and I have a PR per people. That helps me do some stuff, and I'm not even close to what Lamar Jackson's asking for. Yeah, I'd be happy for a 6-inch sandwich for lunch tomorrow.
You got to worry about what you got to do rather than worried about negotiating deals. It all makes sense. We do got to wrap. So Raphael, where can people find you?
You can find me on social media, on Twitter, VSI.sports. You can find me on Instagram at Raphael Esparza. You can see all my crazy odds, or you can bet that. And also, you can find it on JB's email that I'll be sending him a whole bunch. You'll be getting a whole bunch of NFL draft odds. I'm going to try to do 1,000 NFL draft odds this year. It's my goal.
I love it.
Wow.
Dave, where can people find you?
Just Dave. Yep, right there, Dave.
And
that's newcomer, I'm everywhere. I'm just Dave, but just look me up.
Newcomer JT.
You can find me at Jake Taylor 123 on Twitter.
John.
You can find us on Abigail TV. In the coming days, we will have our own 24/7 channel on the Roku app. So you're going to want to look for us on there. Sideline Sports 24/7 channel in the coming days.
JB _ the program. Tomorrow Confidential. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.